I'm going to speak about global warming, and I chose this because it's something that interests me, and it has interested me for a long time, and I just think it's something I like to read about and to research. I'm pretty sure you all have heard stuff about global warming, and we hear about it often on the TV, and someone who used to speak about it a lot was Al Gore, and I believe he actually made a movie about it. I know some people are skeptical about global warming, and they say that it's a hoax or it's a lie, or they just don't believe in it. But like I said before, I do like to research about it, and I've always been interested and try to read as much as I can about it, because I do see the things that go on. I have some examples again on here about what I read, and some facts that I researched on. When we connect the dots between climate change, such as extreme weather and health, the lines are pretty much clear. The Earth is obviously saying something to us. We've seen record heat, drought, storms, and fire. Scientists have been and still are trying to tell us what global warming looks like, to be exact. One of the things that we often hear is carbon pollution. This is the main reason our planet is getting hotter. This increases our chances of weather disasters, drought, floods, and it also has an effect on our health. Now, can you ask yourself, or we all could ask ourselves, and one question that I do have in mind is, what can we do, and how can we decrease the negative effects of global warming? Well, first, okay, I'm pretty sure everyone who does believe about global warming would say, well, we could cut off carbon pollution by reducing our dependence on fossil fuels and try to make clean, renewable energy. We do see drought, we see floods, and really strong hurricanes, such as Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Irene, severe storms, and record-breaking temperatures. I mean, temperatures that have broke records. It doesn't help when we have national leaders who ignore the global warming facts and refuse to create a plan. And it's all because they either don't see enough scientific study or they just don't believe in it. One example that I researched on was the first 6 months back in 2012. Back in 2012, it was the hottest January through June ever recorded in the U.S. More than 22,000 daily high temperature records were tied or broke. That's where I got to saying that we had record-breaking temperatures that were set many, many years before. We've also seen larger droughts in over 50 years, with more than 2/3 of the continental United States in drought at the end of July. There were fires in Colorado that destroyed more than 700 homes. Now, if that isn't enough to say what goes on or what has continued to increase every year, or we do see stronger storms or more frequent tornado after tornadoes and ripping through different states, then I don't know what is. If that isn't enough evidence, then I don't know what is. It just doesn't affect us land-wise, or such as the drought, because the droughts alone affects us for food production. Now, something else that it affects is economically. Why does it affect us economically? Well, when we have droughts or when we have floods, it ruins our food source, and it's hard on farmers as well. Therefore, that causes food prices to go up, and that makes it much harder for us to buy the produce or certain items that we typically buy because they have went up on their prices. So that's also an effect on us as well. Another way that it does affect us is our health. Do you all think, or have you ever thought about how global warming could affect our health? That was an area that I would often ask myself, but I just never read much about it or done enough research until now, where I read on a few passages and read up on some articles. I want to go back to 2012. Extreme heat in the first half of 2012 killed at least 74 Americans just on the heat alone. Heat is just only one factor, though. Other health-related issues did occur, such as sickness, and it can occur. Sickness can occur. Contaminated water. I mean, we can, from all the water that drains off fields and stuff like that, wastewater, it can contaminate our water source. Infectious diseases can also spread. Now, does that come to mind? To me, it didn't. To me, it did not come to my mind. The first thing I thought when I was reading or when I heard about global warming is greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide and all, burning of the fossil fuels is what I considered. But I never knew that global warming could have much more of an impact on us in many different ways. And yet we continue to put this to a side and act like it does not happen when it really does. Floods, they're a problem, as I said, because they do destroy our crops and our food source. But not only that, many people are displaced out of their homes. They have to be rescued. They have to be relocated. They lose their things, their homes, sentimental values. Not only do they lose their homes, but it's also very costly. It's costly to rebuild. It's costly for people just to have something that they worked for, have destroyed, and then they have to go and rebuild. It costs money. One example that I wanted to share that I read about during Hurricane Irene. Hurricane Irene did cost 45 deaths and nearly $10 billion in damage. Much of it was from the flooding. That tells you how much flooding has an effect on a person. Farmers and communities have suffered from droughts. And as I said earlier, this is a problem, and it's bad because of the lack of food source and the cost of prices of when they go up on produce and other foods. Now, another thing that I read about was wildfires. We see those out in California. We see them in Colorado. And this one specific article that I read was, it did come out of Colorado. People that lives in these kind of places, such as California, Colorado, and all those, Nevada, New Mexico, even Arizona. The people that live in those areas are more prone to wildfires are also affected by wildfire smoke. Exposure to wildfire smoke can cause serious health problems, such as asthma attacks and pneumonia. They can also cause respiratory problems as well. So people that are exposed to flooding, wildfires, hurricanes, any other natural disaster, it does affect us. But we have to open our eyes. We need to, even if you just don't believe in global warming, read about it. See what articles you find on it. I know that it's something that interests me, especially when I know there's such a big impact on so many people, including myself. There's times where I often wonder, you know, what if this or what if that? Well, can we predict? I'm pretty sure there's predictions, but we also need, and it's very important that we have national leaders to stand behind this. And as I said just a few minutes ago, even if they don't believe it, they should listen to scientists. Scientists are trying to tell them. And if you don't want to listen to the scientists, just look around us. Look at not only the U.S. but Japan and our country south of the border, earthquakes, tsunamis. We need to continue to open our eyes and just look what's going on around us. So I hope this is something that you all can look upon and read about more of, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I see. Thank you.